Today on CityCast Chicago, hundreds of thousands of people are expected to travel to Des Plaines today to a small Catholic shrine of the Virgin Mary for a feast day. But why do so many people make the pilgrimage to the northwest suburb by car, on horseback, and even on foot? Well, last year we spoke to the Des Plaines priest at the Our Lady of Guadalupe Shrine and a woman whose family has been making the trip for the past 25 years. It's Thursday, December 12th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. Before we get to today's show, you've been hearing it all week long. CityCast Chicago is in the middle of our end of the year membership campaign. I'm going to get to more of that a little later in the show. But if you wanted to get ahead, join now at membership.citycast.fm. You'll find a link in our show notes. But let's jump into the episode.
So on December 12th, people are coming from all sides of wherever to come here to Des Plaines.
Father Ezekiel Sanchez is the rector for the Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Des Plaines.
It's an outdoor shrine, so it's not an indoor church. And what you'll find is a lot of people on the road with banners, with the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, people walking, people helping each other, people giving hot chocolate out. And so the journey is to just right. When you get here, you enter through the main entrance, and you see this large entranceway, which is the welcoming, the beginning welcome with the words of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Nahuatl, the original language, in English and Spanish, that literally translated is, "Am I not here who am your mother? Are you not under my care and protection? Am I not the source of your joy?" In other words, it's telling the pilgrim, you made it. You're safe. You made it home. I got you. I'm here for you. And so you walk in, and there's a long line you get to, just like you do in the Basilica in Mexico City. You get these long lines just to get in front of her, just to get in front of the image. So it's a large hill, Tepeyac Hill, that was constructed, and it has her image outdoor, well protected. And so people just want to get in front of it. And we have native dancers, people dancing to her, music, we call mañanitas, serenading to her, people singing to her, and it's quite the experience. Fireworks displays at the beginning.
Like a full fireworks show?
Yes, Lord. Yeah, in the morning.
The response.
Yeah, not in the morning, in the evening, that is, the first Mass. The first Mass is a fireworks show because it resonates the beginning of the fiesta. So the beginning of the feast day starts at 8 o'clock on December 11th. And so we have Masses and prayer services and rosaries, and it's always busy 24 hours. And the last Mass is at 7 p.m. on the 12th. They leave flowers, they leave their candles, they make a friend, they're all here together. It's just an awesome experience. The hardest part we got to deal with is parking. It's the traffic.
I'm someone who grew up going to an all-black Catholic school on the South Side, but I had never heard of this Catholic tradition that hundreds of thousands of Mexican Americans, Mexicans, and Latinos across the Chicagoland practicing it.
And everybody under the sun. Yeah, it's great.
Can you tell us how you personally got to the Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe?
Well, I've been a priest for over 28 years in the Archdiocese of Chicago. So I grew up in Chicago, I was born and raised there. I went to Curie High School on the South Side. And so it's been very much a Chicagoan myself. So I became rector of the shrine here back in 2016. The Blessed Mother very much part of our spirituality as Catholics. And so Our Lady of Guadalupe was very important to the Latino community who was already coming here.
And while this story is resonant for, people across the world, the largest shrine is in Mexico City. But how did the Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe end up in Des Plaines?
Well, the reality is that one of the things that we talked to Mexico City about, the major basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe, so the image of Our Lady, the miracle of Guadalupe, is in Mexico City. And what most people don't know, if you didn't read this, if you don't know the folklore, the story that goes with the history of it, to make it real short, the Blessed Mother appears to an indigenous gentleman by the name of Juan Diego, who is not even a baptized person yet, but he's on his way to that. He's learning his catechism. And so she appears to him asking him to do her a favor, which is go to the bishop and says, I want a little house built here in my honor in this hill called Tepeyac Hill. And I can give all of the people of this land all of my love, my help, and my protection. This was the promise of Our Lady. It wasn't about the future, the end of the world, none of that stuff. It was just, I want to give everybody of the Americas all my love. The rest of the story is about how Juan Diego fulfills the promise to get this done, get the message through. Well, since then, almost 500 years now, think about it, 500 years in the making, we have a symbol that reminds us of that moment, that we were somebody to somebody from heaven. And so since then, here at the shrine, so when we talked to the Basilica of Mexico City, we asked the bishop, can we please have a special designation from the Basilica? Primarily because we have so many people that have a big promise that's very strong in our heart to go visit and fulfill us, what we call una manda, promise. But some people can't travel.
That trip to the Basilica, every year or even every few years is not possible for everyone.
Or even once.
Yeah, right, or even once.
Because for a lot of reasons. And so the Basilica said, yes, everybody else is not asking us what you're asking us. And so we'll grant you that wonderful gift that we'd like to extend to you out there. This was 2013 that came to us. And so we were able to announce to people that with the gift and the unity of, in other words, we're an extension of the ministry and the work and the story of Our Lady of Guadalupe as it is in Mexico City for those who can't go way out there. So what you see now every year is hundreds of thousands of people pilgrimaging from all over the Midwest, not only Chicago. A lot of people come walking. They'll walk 20 miles in the cold Chicago winter. A lot of them drive. We had over 800 horse and riders do their pilgrimage, the horse and riders pilgrimage. And then another one is the truck drivers. They come with their trucks and their families and asking special gifts and blessings for the year for them. And so this has really been built up a lot. It's been building up for a few years already. And it's nothing we're doing.
Was it always this big? Like what were like those early days like?
It wasn't as large as it was when I got here. It was about maybe 100,000 people came, but now it's up to 400,000.
Why do you think so many people come?
Well, I think we touch a nerve. I guess that's the question. What's the nerve that's being touched? And so, in the life of so many people, they're seeing so much things that are not clear, or they're rather dark or unsecure. Especially for immigrants, no matter what immigration they come from, or people who are going through a hard time. You'd be amazed how much people open their heart. I'll give you an example. I had one pilgrim walking on his knees for a mile. Can you imagine that? And then a reporter asked, why are they doing that? Why is such a severe penance? I'm like, well, I didn't give him the penance. This is what he's choosing. And so I translated for them, and the reporter asked, why are you doing that? And he said, make a long story short, he said, I have a little daughter. She's very sick. She's dying. I have no money. And God is my only hope. And so what you see is the severity of the penance. You'll find it's the severity of the need. Whatever's going on inside of them. We take a lot of things for granted. No, you can't get health care. No, you can't get a transplant. No, you can't get that job. No, you're fired. No, you know what? You worked all week. I'm taking half of your salary. And people go through all these things. And then all the other things that people go through, the challenges, just their daily lives.
For my family, actually started in 2000. So my uncle started it. My cousin was actually, I believe she's 38. When she was born, my aunt had complications. And he told Virgen de Guadalupe that if she was better, he would name her, my cousin after her. And she was born, she was healthy, and her name is Guadalupe.
That was Cynthia Alanis, who helps plan the pilgrimage from Nuestra Senora de Lourdes, a parish on the north side.
Now in Mexico, all of our family, my uncles, my dad, they grew up actually because they do the same thing in Mexico, but theirs are days or weeks. He was interested in doing that, and he's like, you know what, we're gonna start off. He's like, it was just 5 people, I believe, and then it grew, and it obviously it stopped because he passed away in 2020 from COVID. And it stopped for that year, and he had always told my cousin, our cousins, his brothers, his sisters. He's like, I need you guys to continue it. It's tradition, it's our faith. and it's been growing, and he's been wonderful. And my father decided to take over it, and it's been, it's wonderful seeing everybody come together. I think that's the best of it too.
What's your earliest memory of participating in the pilgrimage?
Oh my goodness, I was young. I'm 38. So I was in my teens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I remember going and, just being in the car and seeing them, seeing people literally on their knees. It was cold, and they're just so devoted. And it's our faith, and that, makes us want to walk, that makes everybody want to do it. You see, if you go, you even get emotional just being there, listening to them, because everybody get kind of just, it becomes a family. We all go for something,
Mm-hmm.
your faith, tradition, whatever you want to do it. And it's, you become a community when you're going. They take care of you. You don't know them, but you take care of each other.
Hey, Andy McDaniel here. I'm Chief Creative Officer at CityCast. If you're like me, you're fatigued with the news right now. And yet here you are listening to today's show. I hope that is because CityCast is a bright spot in your media diet. We started CityCast out of the belief that local news can be not only informative, but useful, even delightful. We also believe that when people like you understand your city and your neighbors, it makes your city a better place to live. If CityCast does that for you, I hope you'll consider becoming a member. By listening to this show, you are already a part of what we're building. But when you become a CityCast member, you help ensure we stick around. Become a member of your local CityCast at membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. And thanks.
All right, quick minute. We gonna get back to the show, but you heard me mention it at the top. We are in our end of the year membership campaign. And if over the last almost 4 years, or even just 4 episodes, you've loved CityCast's Great Chicago stories, the melodic good news, if I say so myself, or if you enjoy reading our amazing Hey Chicago news coverage, our dope ass lists, our neighborhood and walking guides, so much more, then consider becoming a member today. One of the absolute best parts of this job is I get to sit down and talk with real people, whether they're making a pilgrimage to the burbs, explaining property taxes or them dreaded parking meters, or they just giving me the behind the scenes of what it looks like being a DJ or a bouncer in this city. I love bringing y'all these conversations that connect the dots of life in Chicago, that help us understand the city better. Hell, help me understand the city better. Sometimes the conversations are tough, take a lot of prep work, a lot of emotional labor. Sometimes they hella aggravating. And then sometimes they are the most fun part of my day. They're joyous, and let's just be real, hilarious. So at a time when national news feels like a slog most of the damn time, do me a favor and take some local action and support the homies over here at CityCast Chicago by becoming a member at membership.citycast.fm. Starting at just $8 a month, or go on and throw me $80 a year. You can help make sure this podcast stays around for another, get this, 950 episodes. Y'all, the road to 1,000 is very short at this point. And on top of all of that, you're going to get ad-free listening, events in your inbox, a brand new tote bag. I'll do you one better. I'll throw in a jug of Uncle Remus mild sauce, some old-fashioned donuts, and I'll get you an overpriced vintage t-shirt, your selection from round 2. All right, them last 3, capping, big capping. First 3, definitely legit. Yes, ad-free listening, events in your inbox, tote bag, we got you. Again, that's membership.citycast.fm. Did you do it? Not yet? You did? All right, if you fall in any of them categories, appreciate you. Let's get back to the show. I mean, Cynthia, what does it take to prepare for this, especially now that you have hundreds, maybe even thousands of people going, and you're more responsible now for it than you were when you were younger?
So I didn't know up until recently when my dad took over, like 3 years ago. And
You was just showing up beforehand.
Yes, but there's so much that goes behind it. Like it's done. And then the minute, you take a month, and then it starts again. It's, you have to prepare everybody, it's meetings and just some minor details, like blowhorns and speakers and radios, and you have to make sure everything works because it never fails. It's something always fails. It's nervous. You get kind of nervous, but it's nice.
So what does that look like for like your family? Like where do you all live now? And do you drive nearby and then pick a place and start walking? Like what does that look like for your family?
So we chose parish. Well, my uncle chose parish of Lourdes because that was his parish.
And that's in Ravenswood.
Correct. He chose that. We don't live. My parents live in Cicero and I live in Justice.
Okay.
So it's, and then the Shrine of Guadalupe, that's, far from us too. So it's, meetings that you have to go with them. You have to work with the church and you have to work with, the Shrine of Guadalupe. And it's obviously, there's, they have to take precautions as well. And it's, how many people are going to go in there? Because I want to say that the most we've had is like over 2,000 people walking with us.
And do you all walk the entire way?
Yes.
I
So
know for you, it's like, of course, Mark, that's why we talking. And I was like, but I just imagine, I was like, maybe people like drive like you drive like close, but then you park far away, but then you maybe walk a couple of blocks. I always figure maybe some people get close, but you all are starting the walk up in Ravenswood to Des Plaines.
Yes. So they start walking around 9:30, 9:45. They get blessed by the priest and then they start walking. Sometimes along the way, people will wait, by home and then they'll join us. But yeah, you walk and obviously there's tons of cars too. Sometimes their family members come and if they get tired, they go in. We have cars that, if somebody tells us somebody fell, they're getting tired, they come in with us or we find a place for them to go in and rest for a little bit. But yeah, so they walk from 9:45 till 4:45 in the cold, rain, snow. People again, they're crawling, they're on their knees, they have no socks, they're barefoot. So you see everything.
Oh wow. So yeah, that's a 6-hour 14-mile walk. And like you said, just organizing people along that route to take care of people. I mean, what does this mean for your family? You talked about your uncle and the origin story and passing away through COVID, which, even though it's years later, I know, a family never truly heals from a loss. And so, I'm sorry for your loss because I know this is a memorialization, but I imagine this also brings up tough times, for your family. How much does this mean for you all?
For us, I'm talking on behalf of my father too, because he's the one that's really running it. After my uncle did, he's like, it's his faith. What motivates him? He's like, of course, it's tradition. He's like, but it's my faith and for my brother. He's like, because he started it, he didn't want this to die. He's like, and my faith in Virgen de Guadalupe. He's like, knowing that, sometimes they'll tell him it's gonna snow, it's gonna be freezing cold, and that day nothing happens. He's like, so I know that, she did it. We're doing it for her. He's like, and it's our faith. It's seeing again. It's such a nice feeling when you're there. Everybody goes for, like I said, different reasons, miracles that they want to happen. We all have issues.
I know that people of different faiths, non-denominational, have also made the walk. What have you heard from some of the people that you've met along the way over the years?
You know what? Everybody has said, we get, because it's so many people. So we'll have people walk out of their houses and they'll ask, what is this? What's going on? And, if they said it themselves, they're like, wow, the faith must be wonderful. Or like, you guys are very devoted. So we've heard, they don't believe it. They're like, you really walk that much? I'm like, yeah, the people walk, so I think it's kind of strange to certain people because they're like, really? But it's faith that motivates you, and a lot of people, have miracles that's happened, like for my uncle, for us, we all have stories that involve her. So it's what motivates us.
What's that story for you? I know that, it's connected to your family and you've seen your uncle and your aunts and cousins and your own father help organize. Have you had your own miracle?
I have actually with my son. When my son was having issues, complications, when I was giving labor to him. And I didn't know that my father actually did the same thing. He's like, please let him be okay. I was praying, and my son was fine. My son was fine. They were telling me that, we don't know what's going to happen. And, everything was fine. I now have a 15-year-old, so, my mom was just telling me today, she's like, I remember my grandma waking me up at, 4 a.m. saying we had to go, to church because, we have to go celebrate Virgen de Guadalupe. So it's tradition. And then once we get older, we grew up praying, and then something happens, like, for example, to me, what happened with my son. And it's like, okay, we're doing this.
Back at the shrine, Father Sanchez tells us what you need to know if you're stopping by.
Dress warmly. We're outdoors. It can be cold. We've had pilgrimages and blizzard storms, and they still keep coming. I think if you're going to bring your heart, I mean, you're going to do this for a reason. It's not just merely a curiosity. You're entering into a communal life that you're welcomed in. There's no tickets to buy. There's no cards to have. The only thing we ask people is to reverently come for the purpose by which you're doing it. There is a lot of security. We got to keep people safe, clearly. There is a lot of welcome as well. It's a quite simple pilgrimage. It's coming, and you'll see it. No one who comes here gets lost in terms of what do I got to do, where do I got to go. The most important part to have is always come as a group, and the journey itself opens oneself to begin relationships with people who are involved in the same journey as you are. That's the role of pilgrimages. You go on pilgrimage, not to go to a 5-star hotel. You go on pilgrimage because it's going to be rough. But what you take in your heart is the needs and the love of the community who sent you there, or the people you're concerned about. And I got to open myself some way. Pilgrimages do that because you encounter so many different people, and it kind of reminds you, guess what? You're not the only one in the world going through a rough time, but together we can overcome. We can find the strength that we need to kind of get through this.
Well, Father Sanchez, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for making time for us here at CityCast.
Bless you now. Take care.
Cynthia, I'm so excited for you and your family. And again, thank you for making time for us here at CityCast.
Thank you so much.
The original starting point, unfortunately, Our Lady of Lourdes Church closed earlier this year. This year, the pilgrimage departed from Queen of Angels Church at Queen of Apostles Parish in Ravenswood. That happened last night, and they arrived early this morning. Before we get out of here, remember earlier when I asked if you became a member of CityCast Chicago? Did you actually do it? It's cool if you did. It's cool if you didn't. It'd be more cool if you did. But hey, I know you want to hear the episode, but now is definitely the time. Not only will you be supporting your favorite Chicago podcast and newsletter right now, but you'll be ensuring that we're around for some years to come. Plus, if you join right now, you'll get a black tote bag and, of course, ad-free listening and a special events email. You can do it now at membership.citycast.fm. Now, I can't let you go without some good news. Saturday from 2 to 5 p.m., stop by the Share the Love Inglewood Winterfest. It's located on the Peace Campus at 64th and Honoree. They're going to have winter clothes and toy giveaways, a bunch of holiday activities, and so much more. I got a link for you in the show notes. And if you're looking for more events this weekend, check out chicago.citycast.fm in our events tab. We got the Winter Solstice Festival in North Park on Saturday, the Winter Celebration Market in Back of the Yard Saturday morning, and then there's Cheese May, a holiday extravaganza in Ukrainian Village on Sunday. Again, so many more events for you on the website. As always, I appreciate you for being here, for making time for me and the entire team. We're going to be back bright and early tomorrow, looking back on some stories from the week. We'll talk to you then. Peace.